Hello and welcome to Angora Poets, the World Cafe, where we present poets and other writers from the four corners of our planet, reading primarily in English and encouraged to read in their second language. So tonight, being December 27, 2020, we're glad to present you with so far 11 poets, and we're going to enjoy each other, and we know you're going to enjoy them too, for reasons both positive, soul-searching, and haunting. So, on with the show. This is it. So, I would like to call our poet from Brooklyn, New York, who heads the Brownstone Poets series. And her name is Patricia Kerrigan. Welcome, Patricia.
Hi, can you hear me? Good. Okay. You Don't Know What Love Is, inspired by Nina Simone. Reminiscence takes refuge from October rain. The roses outside don't know what love is or even care if you lose it. They only seek the shower, not to taste the tears. Reminiscence wears the blues, sleeps alone on a full-size bed. The heart can't hear, but forget what it needs, and hurt still dresses in burnt rags. Love must die, but can't. This vision of you lives on as the wind takes my hand to touch each raindrop.
And hurt still dresses in burnt rags.
Mhm,
Woof. All
mhm.
right. Yes,
Another Nina Simone song, inspired by Nina.
please.
I love her. I love her music. Just say I love him. His engraved name on stone tells me he's not coming back. The mistakes made, the regrets that haunt. Dreams can't revive what's lost. Rain compassed my face and hands. Trees stripped of youth wait for me to pass. A wilted red rose finds perpetual sleep. Grief is laid to rest. A different genre here. The
Yes.
Barn.
Okay.
Epigram. You've got a gift with things. Some of those yellow chrysanthemums you had to sear were 10 inches across. John Steinbeck, The Chrysanthemums. A heavy mist covered the road. Crystals, chrysanthemums, cobwebs, cobblestones took me down a pathway to an ancient barn. When I arrived, the fog lifted. The structure's hemlock boards disintegrated. Wood fragments dispersed, traveled an arbitrary route, perhaps to return as bonds, biofuel, or bookshelves. An imprint remained, framed by broken cobblestones, by cobweb walls. Crystals became blackened windows, and fungi squatters grew impatient. Chrysanthemums grew taller, thicker, more yellow, sunlight too weak to pass its gates. This enclosure impossible for the mind to escape, even with eyes shut. Thank you.
Even with eyes shut. Okay. That's very nice. Are you doing a series inspired by Nina?
I'm supposed to be doing a chapbook. I put it on hold because I thought it was finished months ago, but COVID came along and I wrote a hell of a lot more. Now I have to review everything again and redo the order. I'll do that next year. I'm just not in the mood. I'm
All
bummed
right.
out,
Okay.
tired from this
Okay.
year.
And by chance, yesterday, our large listening audience on WBGO Jazz Newark, we were discussing all the dedication that was launched on the anniversary of the death of Curtis Mayfield. From the Impressions. We're a winner. We are a people darker than blue. You know, and
Mm.
so many people talking. They call him on BGO. Our leader, Postmaster Rodney, calls him the poet, and we were discussing that on our chat line as we were listening live to the broadcast.
Mm.
So that's nice. That's nice because we hear about Patti Smith and Bob Dylan, and it's good to hear also about Nina Simone and also Curtis Mayfield. So that's nice. That's nice. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Great hearing that. And you know, homage to Nina Simone, of course, you know, who inspired so much. Okay, so we have number two is up. And who was number two? Dun, 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 dun. Isabel Orion from, are you in Paris tonight, Isabel?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay, visiting us from Paris. So
Okay,
glad you're on, and let's hear from you now.
so I picked some old stuff because I have no new. So it's called Nevermore. Nevermore, say the crow. Under the bridge flows the blood of human beings. On the edge of the highway to hell, clash the intensity or acuteness of our emotions. Nevermore, say the crow. Freedom leads to loneliness. Walking into the wild, you'll meet Mother Nature's soul. You'll realize how cruel it can be. Nevermore, said the crow. On your own, at the prow of a sailing ship, over a raging dark sea. On your own, at the top of an Himalayan summit by a stormy night. On your own, lost in circles in a dense green and black primary forest. Nevermore, said the crow. Your tears fill the gap between yesterday and tomorrow. Your mind is fed with terror and anguish for the humans. Folly creeps it. You wander in deserted boulevards, seeking for a friendly smile, when they chase you out of the city, grumbling infamy upon your name. You wonder, am I still part of humanity? Nevermore, said the crow. Exaltation drove you into the worst dangers. Seeking for purity, longing for absolute, searching for perfection. You failed and fell in the deepest swamp. The spotted hyenas, sniggering, burst in the distance. Nevermore, said the crow. Ancient legendary mixed with your name, it threw you off this century, traveling in time as the ghost of a dream.
Yes, and indeed it's true. Freedom can lead to loneliness when you step out of the box. Mhm. Okay, Isabel, can you give us and now a second one, please?
Okay, it's called The Castle of the Punks. Back to the haunted country, over the black-burned land, to the castle of the punks, to the castle of the punks. After the new blitz, dancing the last pogo, from Saturn to Venus, we'll be friends forever in the castle of the punks, in the castle of the punks. Waves of ice, the flight of the wild geese over the dead cities, the ghost of a plane passing over Alaska, our memories and our souls, our frozen loves, the sound of a dead organ in the basements, the anti-nuclear shelters, all the tribes of the young rebels traveling to the castle of the punks, to the castle of the punks. It was a song.
Homage to the
Okay.
punks. Okay. All right. From Nina Simone to the punks, this is getting elastic. That's good. Okay, can you give us three's a charm, Isabel?
Okay, it's called Spirit of Complicity. One by one, the humanity, day after day, dead against dead, sounds blowing through the bones, prayers resounding through the seas, boats waiting and losing, close harbors, dark stations, exasperated drunkards, screaming day dreamers, to the frontiers of innocence, purchasing the wind of my thoughts, the breath of my memory, behind the mirror, when I only saw my images, lonely hearts running under a rain of tears, sleeping souls rolling under a fall of stones, calls of help coming out of hell, second rains taking you down to heaven, traveling through every country in a buzz of fire and hope, your head on my lap, pursuing the dust of my mind.
Ooh. Say that again. Your head on my lap, please again.
Your head on my lap, pursuing the dust of my mind.
Okay, that's nice. That's very, very nice.
Thank you.
And if it isn't obvious, Isabel is writing in her second language. So that's quite an achievement right there, Isabel. Quite an achievement. Thank you. Thank you, Isabel.
Okay, thanks to you.
Yes, we're grateful. Okay, so number three. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Was that you, Bill?
I think I was 4. I'm not sure, but whatever. Wasn't Tish number 3?
I was 4.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go next? I
Did
don't
I
mind.
actually get the order right this time? Jeez.
Well, it's okay. I got it wrong. Okay, I'll go now.
Okay, presenting the judge, Bill Strangmeyer.
Okay, couple of new ones. A quote from Farug Farrokhzad. One window is sufficient. It's called mimicry. I do not know. I do not know. This is a better mantra than my life is over. Must I hide the flower from the trains and streets? It might be stolen by the wardens. The wardens gather for the alien lords. Nothing is yours, it belongs to the police. That is why the only birds we see are pigeons. But there are still colors and sounds, a pied world of ideas and of dances, and the blue jays sometimes come round in pairs, auguring a buoyant day. Good day, your lordship, is how I greet them. And will they tell the truth? And to me? Is here below as there above, or are we reflections on a glinting pane, now keeping heaven from hell? There is the net shrouding the day-to-day in a weave, but even the shroud has a calico and tortoiseshell tune, made of slices of particles subtle and clear. Yes, there is a line like a lens or a veil, a storm front between opposing certainties. How much do you need to know? Which bearing leads the pennant seeking the driving wind? It is said there are not two, but I see dichotomy everywhere, everywhere like money, like a coin or a dance, a boxing match. But if I find the straight line, I'll see the pigeons varicolored as they see each other.
Okay, all right, all right.
Okay, now I'm going to whine a little bit.
You're allowed.
Okay, I'll start with a definition. Jaded. 1, fatigued by overwork, exhausted, a jaded horse. 2, made dull, apathetic, or cynical by experience or by having or seeing too much of something. This is called jaded romantic, to George Sanders. The compliment falls on jaded ears, too used to too much foolish, inept rot. The belly is half filled with empty need and outrage at a lack of justice never seen, with wrongs. Would that my few loves had lasted longer, been more real, and sated I am not. Perhaps the searching was the fault, regret of failure overlong, nostalgia overstrong. The faults and sins, criminal, psychological, imagined and grave, were there, conceded, yes. Unrealistic dreams and hoped for lucid peace have never pampered me into disgust or languor. No, innocence of knowledge, naivety are faults I'll easily admit, and anger, rage, or feeling less. The theme is always lack, and lack of wisdom, lack of skill, dexterity, or second sight, old anger. I decry the crimes of bullies on the weaker, aided by their heedless or malevolent voyeurs. But to be accused of being glutted, spent, or exhausted by too much success or honey received is a bill of indictment brought by deaf-blind dupes against a ballet of passion play with cri de coeur, because it's not funny enough to be well received as vaudeville pantomime, wouldn't be believed. Vaudevillians and poets, strike ye back at all complaint. If you do not, there's no one else who will. You hold the key like a flag against the thought that the world's unjust and isn't fun, is even ill.
That was a
Bill,
quick
I thought,
departure. All right. Tell
Bill,
us
I
again
thought
about your mantra, Bill. What was that? You in the beginning of that poem, you talked about your mantra.
No, the theme. The theme is always lack and lack of wisdom, lack of skill, dexterity, or second sight, old anger.
Okay. You gonna give us three's a charm?
Well, I'll try to be charming.
In your way, only in your way, Bill.
This is an old one. It's called Joie de Vivre. I swear I've never talked aloud of my Narcissus dream. The talk I like is slewed and dredged, all full of shuffling scream. The pasty tint I pay my face is from my love of gags. The party line that I might bless befits decaying hags. Who lives in rain and loves fat tears is nourished as with bread. A bruise seeps out through all his pores. His prayers aid not the dead. I tinker with my shuffling gait as might a hobo's son. How does one march with arms or fret? I feel like dancing's done. My baby doesn't love me much. I am no gift, it seems. I've always got some vulgar itch where she gets lost in dreams. And if she would surprise me once, I'd never cry or sigh. I'd rather be well led, not prance or chew on wooden why. I'm never right, I'm never wrong. It's all in other hands. One finger wrapped in wedding string recalls to me time's sands. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. That was nice. That was very, very nice. Okay. All right. So now, well, there you have it from the judge. And now I'd like to move over to the UK and invite on Miss Tish Camp, poet, who recently awarded in a competition in the UK. Aren't you, Tish?
Yes, yes, thank you very much. And I'll be reading the poem that was made into a film and putting the link to the film in the chat box below.
Very
So
nice.
these poems were written under the mentorship part of the awards that I got of surrealist poets Ronnie McGrath. This first one is called Alone in Four Courses. She wore dandelion eyes of hope into caverns of yellow mist. Oh, 1 second, sorry. Into caverns of yellow mist, blowing gaseous tropes of wish-head lives, free falling across deserts of sunken bread set on tables of truth. Carpets of solitude flew across her ever alone sunset skies, crystallized in virals of 19, labored through black white abattoirs, tender cutting chunks of peace. In a cold marble touch-me dress, she is drawn butcher tight by an apron of anarchy. Steel horse riding cantaloupes, war crying solo from a fist and peppered chest. Candles of waxed plate moons in black syrup sheets of tablecloth skies of the dead melt into white marsh and mellowed days on the grassroots wine of her untouchable thoughts, clock wishing, a seated loner, to pass bread, wounds, salt, and time. Thank you.
I'll just need a day and a half to further absorb those profound metaphors. That's all.
Thank you. This next one is called No Man. I am an island without water that a tidal wave destroyed. No friendly ebb and flow, Saharan desert, hot sun in isolation, unimagined ghosts forever walking. I am salted sweat evaporating, only noticed in its itch. Hot, hard, crack camel heel, bootless legionnaire, traversing sink sand dunes, weary from heavy survivor pack. I am rested in lush green dreams, mirage of watermelon, huge scape of red, melanin skin bronzed in vitamins, oil replenished by touch, hammock swinging into night. I am journeyed into universe, a meditation overcome by tears at the well of loneliness, belly crawl to sip from friendship cup, returning to taste empty. I am untouched as leper, tabernacle past, thrown scraps, worn disease, hopeless low caste, on outskirts of city, Jesus desolation, 40 days and nights, walk in wilderness, desecration of isolation. I am no man. Thank you.
Wow, very nice. Oh, and what I am rested in, what was that? What, that was a beautiful line. I am rested in lush leaf green dreams.
Yes, let me find it again. I'm rested in lush green dreams,
Oh,
mirage of watermelon.
yeah, yeah, that was nice. That's a way out. That's a nice way out. All right. Can
I've
we
got,
have three's a charm?
yes. Okay. I'll do this reading. I would have shared the screen, but I believe the film can't be shared in any other way other than on the platform that it's on, as far as I know. So this is called Touching Carpaccio. Delicate, sharp cut, like a loose skein of iridescent flesh, lying still in ribbon stress on boards of her own philosophies. In antipasto of her life, she is olive, vinegars of balsamic brown, trickled over loose, luscious leaves of green, never proportionately bound. Dark red meat, as if a dangerous paint, warning in sinews cut out. Tribal appreciation of power, adoration of skin and lips, thinly sliced roses form in her breast, alone, aromatic, prophetic of wild horses. She is ready and perfectly dressed. Thank you.
All right. Very nice. That's very powerful stuff. Thank you, Tish. And once again, congratulations that you were selected into that poetry filmmaking
Yes.
uh, yeah, project. That's very good. Will you be posting that on social media that we can see that when it's finished?
Yes, it's already on my Facebook page. And I'll put the link to my Facebook page there in the chat, and the poem separately. There's a series of 15 other films that have also been made from all of the marginalised writers, and the films are absolutely beautiful, and the poetry too. Yeah,
Great. That's just great. Okay,
I'll
good.
stick that in the chat now. Thank you.
All right, good. Wow. Like we say, where every poet is a feature, and deservedly so. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next poet. And let's see, who was next? Dane, I believe. Were you next, Dane?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I did see a thing, though. I don't want to mess up the order, but Benedicta was worried about her battery going low.
Okay. Well,
And
we can, okay, well,
jump in and let her go. If
all
she's
right.
there.
So, Benedicta, are you hearing us? Hello, Benedicta.
Yeah, hello, Mo. I don't
Okay.
have enough battery storage, so I might not stay through.
Okay.
I've
Well,
been
what?
kind of busy throughout the days, so I wasn't
Yeah.
able to really charge
Okay.
it full. So
All right.
I wouldn't want to go off and sound a bit rude with that part. So I wanted you to know that I don't have enough battery storage.
Right. Do you have enough to present for us now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Why don't you?
So the first one, apples and undeniable prisms of life, unending pillars that holds the gateways to unascertainable broadways, a million tools to carve, the drills of a goldsmith's awe. That's the first one.
Okay. Very nice. Okay. That was rather
Then
upbeat.
sorry.
Okay. Well, number two will be fine.
Then
Most welcome.
the second one, principled and breathless, a dynasty of erratic love, surrounded by unselfish and compassionate. Speechless by his portrayed sense of humor, he assembles the expressions of humility. That's the second one.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a good portrayal of romance. Okay. Can you give us now three's a charm, Benedicta?
The third one, assembled wholes, shots of pain, pulses and scars woven in a niche of strapless outbits. That's the last one.
Okay. So that was one of your monocles, and we would like, as we do, read that again for us, please.
That one is a micro poem. The monocle is a one-liner.
All right. Well, my mistake. Then read that very brief piece once again.
Assembled wholes, shots of pain, pulses and scars woven in a niche of strapless outbursts. I hope it's better.
Okay. Uh, both times it was good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad we could get you on before your battery went off. Okay. All right. Thank you, Benedicta.
Okay, you're
And so
welcome. Good
now,
night to
we're going
everybody and
to,
Merry Christmas.
well, good night and Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas, Benedicta. Good night.
Merry
Okay,
Christmas.
good night.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Good night. Bye. Bye.
Christmas.
Mhm. Okay. So we're going to travel from Ghana, geez, across, I think, two oceans at this point, two oceans and a continent to San Francisco and its own autonomous zone, San Francisco. Hello, Dane.
Hey, everybody. Yeah. Who knew wicked wounds would wind up tied Belgian lace collars, gags, rushing downhill into tight turns, knots hard to undo, as you asked, or was it begging? The alpine discipline, if you like, but we know in the life, I prefer if you didn't like it. It's not malicious. I just enjoy the look on your face. Priceless. You rushing to please me, shoeless, slalom, naked in the snow. If I took delight in your tragedy, your situation, red bottom pulse, but that is not misfortune. You asked me. You asked for it. Let us be clear how this started. Let us be clear on the situation. This is not Schadenfreude, not when you want it. Vaporizer is the safe word.
Okay. All right, we can go with that. Vaporizer. All right. Okay, good. Let's hear your next one, Dane.
Police line up. You drift to deepness. I'm left alone here. It's just perception. A blanket gone missing in the night, the kicked off calamity now sleeping on the floor. This is how to play the game of life. I ride the Taurus. The spiral escalator returns me to future past. I dreamed the tattoo on your shoulder came to life. Killed me, November, 5:54 p.m. dark. Alone, clotted stain, the coroner's report, a scribble. I cannot decipher what it means. The invitation to shower with withdrawn. I worry this new lover will fall in love with that old lover. My terror house is papered in torment, green and pink floral pattern, a prison bar motif. I see every wrinkle written on my soul. Across the bay, the roses, rose garden waiting for my visit 40 years ago. I sit frozen in my mess, old and a wreck, soon to be toothless, forgotten, locked in a chest, irrelevant. The smell of musk and rainbows taunts. Nothing may be described. Maybe. Mind blowing. How not to finger someone. 2 for the pink and 1 for the stink. Have you ever been in a police lineup? Blinding hot lights saying what cannot be said. I hear your breath change. Fire alarm warning. Somewhere there is happiness like cats sleeping.
Wow, that was deep. Thank you. Okay. And now you often talk about that these come to you as waking dreams. Would that be one of them?
Uh, no, that's not a dream at all.
Okay.
There was no dreaming in that.
All right. Okay. No dream at all, huh? That's
That was
just matter of fact, huh?
yeah, that was some reality.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
enough. And how about some more reality with Three's a Charm?
All right. It is hot. It is crazy hot. Every cell singing, testifying to sensual delight. I learned more about love this year, more than a small cup holds. The worst calamity to happen is love in all forms of all the poison snake bite, somehow twisted but true. All is love, the sweet illusion to wanting, heat mopping brow, evaporation, the fire, the flood, the natural disaster. The cheetah captures the gazelle, the struggle, the collapse of teeth and jaw on naked, delicate neck, the suffocation, sleep, silent, quiet, still, growling, the bloody muzzle, evidence, the ripping, bleeding blood, Phil, the lion cock coming, Sierra hot, the cubs born, the end begins, the beginning ends. We are happy idiots, fucked mindless, the time of peace, thoughts, worries go back to sleep, oneness, skin on skin next to the moment, tumescent, throbbing, we, flower heads numerous, nodding, laden with seed, perennial, aromatic, feather-like divided cleft along the common axis, silky, silvery, separate, holy, artemisium, absinthium, penance for the sacrament, consequences for our sins. Life is the price for absolution. The tough lesson is the prayer. You cannot do anything about it, just give in. Submit, like it, want it, need it. It will fill you up full, the thrust out of control, slow motion stimulation. You feel every part of everything. Drug, high like ecstasy, felt so good you cannot remember how good the fuck was. When we're talking about the fuck, there is the routine. There's the first time, the best time, the worst time, the last time. Daydreaming about playing with every angle and type of stroke, the touch, slide, contact, pressure, the glides, release, the separation, makes minds come till clits are throbbing. The words manipulate you, finger you, insist upon your attention, standing up hard, wet, lasting a long time. A second is a lifetime. Pleasure till you just can't stand it anymore. The succubus, the incubus, the fuck you bus. We smoke cigarettes in bed now, like expensive Cuban torpedoes. The velvet smoke plume rises, finishing. We are hungry again. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure if that's futility or a leap beyond futility. All right. Okay. Wow. Thank you, Dane. Look, right. Okay. Very good. Okay. So let's leave San Francisco now, and let's see. We had Doc and Dave. I think between Doc and Dave, one of you was next.
Yeah. Let's stay in San Francisco.
All right. Let's
Yeah.
stay in San Francisco.
Okay, I'll do my best here. The Funny Face Gang. Screaming, gleaming, close at hand, churning, burning in the sand. Forget them, lad. Let them hang. Forget the Funny Face Gang. Growing, sowing across the land, moving, grooving contraband. Escape your evil ways, she sang. Escape the Funny Face Gang. Listening to a band, hearing, cheering each demand. Ignore their blasts. Ignore their bang. Ignore the funny face gang. Biting, fighting, reprimand, beaming, dreaming, final stand. Deny them all, that last cry rang. Deny the funny face gang.
All right, well, I'm sorry, I got a funny face on that one. All right. Okay. Never know where you're gonna go, Dave. I love it. I never know where you're gonna go with these.
I always like
All
to
right.
keep you on the edge of your seat.
Keep us guessing, babe. Keep us guessing.
Let's
All right. Okay, number two, please.
go somewhere else. Hong Kong transfer. The Union Jack comes down. The Chinese flag goes up. Probably no opium in the hall. Prince Charles makes jolly with Jiang Zemin. If the soldiers march with such precision, live via C-SPAN on Chinese national television, English service from Beijing, cut to music, young woman dancing, softly fluttering as new butterflies in Tiananmen Square. All lovely smiles, pretty feet lightly tripping over the ghost of blood, and the slumbering spirit of the goddess of democracy.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You couldn't recite that in China.
I sure couldn't. But I could recite it at Angora Poets.
And elsewhere. That's right.
And elsewhere, true.
Yeah. Are you aware of a very, very phenomenal individual who lives in San Francisco named John Chang?
I don't believe I am.
Okay, well, I hope you get to meet up with him.
John Chang?
Jang, J,
Jang.
yeah,
A poet?
Jon. He what he does is he composes with some of the leading avant-garde jazz groups in the country.
Cool.
And he's composed with poets too, Amiri Baraka,
Yes.
and the other people, the Kronos Quartet. And it's the
Yes.
same, and he's from San Francisco, and he has a passion for promoting Chinese American contributions.
Absolutely. Sounds like somebody to find out about.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry to be
John
ignorant
Chang.
of him now.
All right.
Yeah, John Chang.
So
Thank you.
three's a charm. We're waiting.
Okay.
David, three.
Three's a charm. Thanks. And somewhere else again. In the reading room with two poets. In the reading room with a few other souls. A tall, beautiful woman stands before me, talking to somebody in the next row. I glance behind me over my left shoulder. Yonder comes the Jack of Roses, or some guy doing a damn good imitation of the poet I have come here to hear. I think, here comes my death. He stops next to me and greets the tall, beautiful woman. She is the other poet reading on the program. He borrows a coin from a man in the next row and flips it to determine which of them will read first. Comes up tails. She reads first and goes to the podium and begins to read her marvelous poem.
Okay. A scene from real life. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you went three different places. You went three
Indeed.
different places. All of them memorable. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you all.
Okay. So next in line, I have to, let's see, is it you, Doc?
Yes.
It is you, Doc. Jeez, I'll tell you. Okay. A little bit of fluoride goes a long way. All right. So let's hear from you, Doc, please.
Okay. Solstice. Solstice, the soft glow of dawn, an of light, a held breath, sifts across the tense sky from night-bound infinities and the edge of darkness. A coveted divination from winds of time, as the moon faints down, drawn into the day to drown in Gaia's light. A pastiche of perception, a syzygy of past, present, and future, seen through the telescope of memory in eldritch assertion of the ages. In a universe beyond imagination, which longs to understand, which reveals nexes of pellucid dimensions within uncertain dimensions, the void in the space between the song and the poem, which lifts you to the stars. Solstice, the dawn of dreams, cries out from the vast silence in a concatenation of answers to questions, of unknown futures, drawn of ancient strands of memory and detritus of the past, illuminates sunstone echoes of the heart and reverberations of emotion in a continuum of hope, coalesces in a bright warmth to grasp what cannot be grasped, to shape a blaze of passion, fires rhodamel rememory into the phoenix of love renewed, till the forever beyond forever, by the sky-clad sunrise magic of tomorrow and infinity. Thank you.
Take the big leap, Doc. Take the big leap. And solstice, the dawn of dreams. All right. And I guess most of us know that with December 21, we begin the winter solstice with what, 1 minute, 22 seconds additional light per day. Is that how it goes, Doc?
It starts with just 22 seconds
Oh,
the next day, and then it progresses from there. A full minute plus the following day, etc.
all right, great. Most welcome too. All right, let's hear your next one, please, Doc.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull the bone out of my dog's mouth. It's making a lot of noise.
Quest. No lights, no machines. An opened mind, expanding its reach from the here and now into the multiverse beyond. Flying, voyaging through the everywhere and every when of time, space, dimension, and the void of places between. Seeing what has been, what could have been, what is, what yet may be. Seeking self, seeking love, seeking home.
Yes. Another one of them about expansion, seeking, seeking, seeking. That's nice to go through that tumble. All right. So three's a charm, Doc.
Okay, and here comes number 3. Seas of love. 'Neath midnight Mazarin sky and smiling eyes of stars, you embrace, kiss, and cuddle, entwining body, heart, and soul. Tongues draw across glowing skin, writing passion in fiery tracery as bodies melt into each other. Barge of dreams gently rocks, sailing over moonlit got my tang tangled. Barge of dreams gently rocks, smile. Yeah. barge of dreams gently rocks, sailing over moonlit Mangata on seas of love. Night drifts away into dawn.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much. Okay. There we have it, the voice from South Euclid, Ohio. Or is it East Euclid?
South Euclid.
I got it
There's
right?
no East Euclid.
Well, I stand corrected. All right, great. Okay, thank you, Doc. So moving on now, we're down to Jack and Claire and me. And between Jack and Claire, I don't even remember who was up next. But
I was
think
originally number 7.
okay, well, then why don't you come on board? Let's welcome our New York area poet who's been living in Paris for some time now, Jack Cooper with Poets Wear Prada, etc., etc.
Well, thank you. It's cold in Paris, very wintry. And after listening to a lot of Christmas carols, I'm dreaming of snow. This is called Crossroad. I know a region in my heart, white as snow, fallen, timid under the moon, counting on such wintry days. It lies a few paces ahead, slightly apart, like hands and feet. Inevitably will come, go, when I scrape the angel from myself, an image far below heaven made, traced but swept to mock my shape. And this, I believe I've read this before, but this is called Winter. Wind wipes now off every mood, fury to flurry, rained in flight, profusion, swirl majestic like the waste of time, continually provoked by love, but never feeling. Sun, too, vanished, leaving only sky.
And we leave it at that. Only sky. All right. I think there was a pregnant pause there because we're used to Jack reading a longer length verse. So, wow, okay. The poet can, which proves the experienced poet can write various lengths, actually. Okay, experienced poet, how about Three's a Charm?
All right. This I'd like to dedicate this to Julie Andrews. It's called I Am's Eat Ivy. Sort of a poetic tribute. Loneliness after alone, so long feeling sad, badly hurt. Pain returns, come back too soon. So alien I am in the upper air. I might as well remain within my head, where walls have wings and ears. Solitude there, ever starkly unself-conscious, works just fine. So cold, cold, the toward stretch, seeking past reach, the world at my feet below, upside down, beyond them, far away, curtain opens, snowfall of moonlight, chanced nerve obliterates, stays nor moves. Instead, sun of days, opaque, pale void, the dawn following to fill in.
There we go. Wow, okay. I like that line, the world's my feet below. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jack.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Okay. And now shall we stay in Paris with Miss Claire Andriani? Hello, Claire.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Claire.
I have a poem. I have a poem called Illusion. This woman cries like a swan that can't glide on the waters. She sees the reflection of the sun, but can't grasp it. It's there under her, unreachable, like an image without a model. The origin of light being but an illusion. Blurred on the river, it glitters with the wind, making it alive like the specks of my mind, or like this swan that can't swim anymore in the thunder of a generation of illusions, the thunder of a time without a face, but a million glitters reflecting my mind, working even in the darkest night, when the sun is but an illusion.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Take that at face value. Oof. An image without a form. Woo-hoo. Okay, Claire. Number 2, please.
Yeah, I still don't know what I'm going to read, so I'm looking at the different possibilities.
Okay.
This one is called Shining, and it was really Shining. My heart is aching as I type these words on my laptop. The words flow like a river, but the dead people are looking at me, breathless. I don't know if it's their compassion or their mere presence that I feel so deep inside. It's like they hold my fingers and tell me it's gonna be all right. But I feel their absence in the streets, in the air. Their absence is there, crying silently, vibrating in every inch of me, making me listen to a song of despair, black as the night. The dead people are there, watching us. They haunt me with their aborted desires. They float above the river with the sound of despair, like a million stars, bright in the darkness, shining.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay. Yes. Yes. And
My second one.
and there are a lot of people who from their point of view feel the spirit and the presence of the dead.
Yeah.
I have come into very intimate contact with some who have felt that way. All right, so three's a charm, I see.
3 is a charm. I'm looking for it.
Okay.
Looking for it. And it's called Tree of Life. Wait. Okay. I wish you were there, next to my cold elbows, next to my breast, and would hold me as if I was an angel without wings. I wish you were there to hold me, next the Christmas tree, as if I was the most precious thing you have ever beheld. And you would take me in your arms without damaging my wings, but by inflaming them so I can go to hell with you, while you would sing with your Adam's apple, sing your despair not to be able to turn an angel of the skies into an angel of fire, but you were wrong. I feel it all along my body right now, a burning fire, the ones you find in loving homes, in the chimney, in my heart, in my legs so that I want to fly. A fire of union, one that warms you up and makes you want to become one with this person that understands you. I want to sit next to you and smile at heaven. I will give you more apples to eat so that the tree of love grows and stays young inside. I will be thoroughly conscious of my sins and will shout, hooray. We will listen to Frank Sinatra and dissolved into dust.
Okay. May all your dreams come true, especially those that matter. Okay, Claire. Very, very nice. And again, I'll remind people that Claire is writing and reading in her second language as well. So, bravo for that. Now, I'm up next, and I'm going to depart from such elegant imagery and bring us down on the ground because this holiday season returns to me memories of things that went on during holiday seasons, and this is one of them. This is a piece that I wrote called Dugan and Riley, which are names to replace who their names really were. And what it is it's sort of a poem that ended up getting adapted for movement art and then getting adapted for stage. So, poetry is the mother of language. Why don't we all agree to that, So that's how it evolved over time. And I got it published in this here book here called I Want to Make Jazz to You. And so it's called Dugan and Riley. And like I say, suffer me to return us back down to the street. I had what? My best, my worst. I tried so hard. I wanted so badly. But things happen. Believe me, man, things happen. Okay, it took place in the body. No, it took place in the mind. All right. It happened in my soul, dare say it. I was brave. Nah, I was a coward. Tell the truth, man. Just tell the truth. No more lies. No more lies. Look, I know what happened. I know what it was, who he was, but who was I? The truth, just the truth. That's the hard part. You see, it was a rumble. It was a dance. Is there a difference? It was rivalry. It was jealousy. It was envy. It was hatred. It was passion. Misguided love. Tell the truth. Dare I speak it? Can I do it? Set the secret free. It's not what you think, not what I thought. Oh, I was afraid. Oh, yes, afraid. Fear I could not identify. I would not reveal how I felt about that night, every night since. Every day the world turns on her axis, and I too turn and twist with her, a corkscrew snaking from my core, winding its way through my ribs up to my neck, just beneath my skin. I cover my flesh. I hide my scars. That was the prologue. I had the strength to knock him backwards 3 full steps with one punch. I had the will to lift myself from the pavement when he returned the blow. I had the stamina to go 10 street rounds, though I knew I was beaten in the first. Streetlights flooded the makeshift ring, neons flashing on and off in cadence with the terrible thumping over my left eye. When he landed a hammer shot, lightning, then thunder. Neon flashing on and off and on and off the clammy sheen of our skins. Blood drops dripping through haze of perspiration. The vital juices we gave like there was no tomorrow. A crowd stood around. I saw through swollen eyes, their gasps, awes, their mimicking, the fierceness of our spectacle, the beastly nature of ourselves. Alone, lonely men lost, shadow boxing our way through the prime of our time, afraid of true reflections of ourselves, we might see a mirror image of a lower order that we might be. Does my neighbor feel the same sorrow, the same loss? Does he not feed on the same stew, run from the same shadows, hide the same shame, and cry in the same dark shadows? A jagged line of pain rushed through my lungs, sweat collected in torn nostrils, acrid as a smelling salt. The shock returned me to the scene. We were clutching, no, holding each other. Locked we were in awkward embrace. I slipped from his grasp, flinging both hands against his chest. I squeezed him by his shoulders, peered through his gaze, deep into his eyes, and there's where I found him. Exhaustion rose like a fog, saturated head and limb. Adrenaline enough to stand, knock-kneed, unsteady, neurons fired wildly, arms flailed aimless. The hammers of our fists now dead weight. We had given face to save face. A forearm to my ribs sent me stumbling backwards. Against that meat market window, flush to the glass, I slid, catching a glimpse of myself in the slow descent. In that gray silhouette, a picture, pathetic, Spartacus in the salt mine. We had lost the crowd, feeling robbed of a climax. In cold indifference, they walked away, denying a gladiator his last hurrah. Left to ourselves and a few gawking pigeons, we soon took flight for a vac- who soon took flight for a vacant eve. They huddled together as the rain came down. For the sake of reputation, we charged each other. He a wounded stag, I a bludgeoned bull, each brute attempting a decisive blow. Dull thud met with dull thud, and we tumbled to the pavement, clinging to each other, lest one man appear the loser. Panting hot drive heaves in each other's faces, I smelled the onions in his dinner, and he smelled the garlic in mine. And I stained with his sweat, he with my blood, fused we were and tangled, our futile moves to come undone. As a bus stopped, the driver bellowed, "Why don't you clowns just call it a night?" With cause to pause, I recalled Achilles' bout with Hector. Costumes now different, weapons have changed, armor on the outside, now on the inside, hero worship unabated throughout the ages, the sole manner by which to distinguish oneself from the mob, a defiant stand in this asphalt arena. This brawl, like that dull brawl pitting Achilles upon Hector, a cloaked flirtation played out in warrior dance, stubborn respect, latent admiration, perverse compassion for the greater pains, deeper sorrows within and throughout our dismal young lives, too frightened to admit, taboo to reveal, truth buried in a veil of silence. Pretending, alleging, it's done for the girl, some other rare pearl, some Helen of Troy, some Mary of the East End. We spread our lives away in swift Chevy chariots, roaring through the gates, daring the odds, headlong we race, the awaiting brick wall, savage, so noble, with what little we have, we so easily throw it all away. So that's part of it. That's part. Thank you. Glad you like it. Okay, that's about half of it, and I won't take you through the longer version. Anyway,
Epic, Mo.
well, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. That's called Dugan and Riley, and yeah, so that's what happened. A mere poem ended up. We did it on stage.
Yeah, the longer version.
Huh?
The longer version next time. Well, I want to read the rest of it. It's a whole film. It's a whole film.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Well, maybe I should I go on and read the rest of it? Would that be too untimely at this point, or reserve it for another time?
Please read it. Please read it.
Okay. Okay. Find it here.
That could be your 2 and 3.
It could be the one and only. You're right. You're right. Okay. So here we go. Okay. 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 His grunt returned me to the quiet and the deadly calm. And I stared at his naked face. Mine was the same. A foreign emotion welled within me, an urge to dab my finger to stop the blood flowing from his lower lip. How dogs lick clean their wounds and those of another. Our eyes locked in such unease, each searching the other for a sign, a gesture, a solution, relief, an honorable ending. I desperately wanted up and out, but I don't have the courage to call it quits, to lie passively, arms dropped at my sides. I could not forget Achilles' bout with Hector. We lay motionless, clutching each other, not a word spoken, not a signal, not a jest given. Speechless, I implored, we can take off our armor. Drenched in blood, sweat, soaked with rain and mud, we will surely rust. Getting to him was getting at me. At last I pulled away, shouting, "Listen, Dugan, I seen big men twice our size fall to machines and ground out as pulp, spit back, teeth, bones, and all. Now some men share tennis, and some men share golf, and our kind share foxholes at war with each other, at war with themselves." Startled, he released his grip. So did I. He rose to his feet, shook his shoulders, blinked several times, and let out a sigh. In a low, deliberate voice, he hissed, "Riley, you're an asshole." And he turned and walked away. I laughed quietly and murmured, "Let's go for a swim. Try a new dance. I like the way you wear that hat." He was still in earshot when I shouted, "Hey, Dugan, see you around." He shot back, "Yeah, see you around. Not anytime soon." Okay. Signal and returned signal. All was put to normal. Me, I just sat a while, senseless and stupid for spending myself on bloodletting and onion breath on a Good Friday night. My best suit of dance clothes riddled with dents, cracked in the seams. Then the rain picked up, and I took to the back streets and alleys not to show my damaged self. I cut through the churchyard of St. Peter and Paul's, taking shelter from the downpour in the house of the Lord. And I wondered about what young Father Michael would make of our combat, the violence, the hurt, the pain we so readily gave. I supposed he would say, as he has said in times past, from the height of his lofty pulpit at 9 o'clock Mass, "Men are corrupted, the Holy Spirit brings peace." To which I'd surely rebuke, "I live in a world of men, and it is among them I seek peace." Can you summon this spirit here to the streets to break down these man-made walls of our living hells? This spirit you conjure up as a dove, can it fly with salt on its tail, with blood in its eye? Now tell me, Father, tell me. And closer to home, I thought about love, loving my brother and loving myself, how strong the conviction, how much heart muscle it would take, what a better world it could be. My life, your life, the lives we could shape. And just about then, the terrible thumping returned over my left eye where he hit me when I knew I was beaten in the first, but would not surrender. Not a wise man. I did not have the courage. Did not have the courage. So that's okay. Well, thank you. I have never read that
That
in
was
full
very
length before. That's the very first time.
that was
So,
very
So glad you did. It was fantastic. The whole story, fantastic.
okay, okay, and yeah, yeah, and this guy would later, a year later, go to Vietnam, and come back a real mess after his first tour of duty. Yeah, yeah. So okay, uh, so there we go. That was us doing a complete first round, and why don't we take a few minutes break here and come back on with everybody, please forwarding two poems in the second round. Okay, okay. All right, I'm gonna get me some water, and I'll be right back.
Thanks, Mo.
Okay.
most fights don't last that long.
See you around, but no time soon, right?
Yeah.
So. Oh, there we go
So,
again. I like that picture that Tish put up. See what I mean
yep.
there? That's cool. So, like, wow, this is the end of the year, and it sounded to me like we had a lot of kind of. Am I wrong, or did we sort of share tonight a lot of uh, sort of end of the year reflective lamentations?
Let's get this damn year in the books.
Really?
Somebody posted a cartoon, a guy with a T-shirt that said, 2020 is still better than my first marriage.
I saw that. Yeah.
Well,
Ouch.
anybody have a follow up on that one?
That's maybe, but not that much better.
Yeah, and I thought in recent times the worst year was 2016. Because if
Me
you
too.
recall,
Me
right
too.
after New Year's, we lost Prince, David Bowie, Maurice White. We lost all these giants in quick succession in the music industry.
Yeah. Oh, this year has been just brutal.
Been one shit year.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, I admit I suffer from COVID fatigue, like.
Yeah. And a lot of people are having a lot of coping issues, especially at this point.
Well, that's my coping issue. I call it COVID fatigue. Trying to
Yeah.
dodge.
Well,
It's very
there's
bad depression, and
actual
every
thing
day I fight
called,
this.
It's really tough not to get depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting depression every morning. I have to fight to get out of bed.
Uh-huh.
It's like this
Okay.
every fucking day.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Really?
For me.
Really?
And
I
I'm not
identify.
crazy.
And the cold dark of winter doesn't help.
Right. And what we could mention in Paris, it's been gray and rainy for like 7 or 8 days in a row. And our coming forecast for the next week is more of the same. And
High winds.
high
Oh
winds.
yeah, that makes it more fun.
But it's that gray
Monster.
sky. It's that gray sky, like no activities today, and it's just gray out my window. And I have an Achilles heel for that. I can take a lot of shit, fire and brimstone, but give me too much gray, and I'm as wiped out as a character in an Ingmar Bergman film.
We had very bad weather here on Christmas Eve. It was horrible.
Uh-huh.
And Christmas Day was disgusting. But yesterday the sun came out. But it didn't feel at all like Christmas. Christmas Eve didn't feel like Christmas Eve. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I notice. I notice particularly with my New York friends, which I seem to have a very large number of them. You can call friends, Facebook, and a lot of them I do know from years and years of hanging out in the city, particularly around WBGO and then down the downtown jazz scene. And people reverted this year to more nostalgic stuff. As it, our need to remember better times.
Yes.
Past year pictures, images of idyllic Christmas scenes and things like that from
Yeah.
full-grown adults, which
Yeah.
meant
I didn't think
This
I
year
would see
is
it happen to me.
this year is like Narnia under the spell of the White Witch. It's a land where it's always winter but never Christmas.
Mhm. Yeah, the Grinch. The Grinch actually became, yeah, the Grinch.
We had 14 inches of snow here on Christmas Eve.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I was originally from Pittsburgh, and they're reporting they had the biggest amount of snowfall ever recorded on a Christmas day. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. The other news I hate to bring it up is, well, I'll tell you one thing that's going on with me. Since I'm under this confinement and have not finished the great American novel, oh yeah, I have all this time and I'm a writer and I'm just gonna go to the kitchen table and write voluminously. After a while, it's going, oh fuck, and there's nowhere to go.
Try
I admit,
marketing your new novel. I can't seem to sell it. I got a
okay,
new novel out
oh,
and I can't sell it.
but one thing that's happened with me, and I throw this out as an opener, I have had the return of so many memories going all the way back to post-infancy. And I don't think that's like, I think that's consequential of a consequence of being under house arrest for so long. So, God, I'd forgotten that for 20 years, forgotten that for 30 years. And all these memories coming back way, way back. More than usual. I mean, I seem to think I know my memory pattern.
I'm losing you guys.
Uh-oh. Where are you going?
Uh-oh.
Don't jump. Don't jump. Don't jump.
It only gets worse.
Yeah. Has that happened to other people? Have you sensed, have you, as a flood or, memories come back unexpectedly? I'm
Yeah.
tying it
Yes,
to my
exactly.
confinement. Anybody else like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
All the
Oh,
time.
yes, indeed.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Comes from
And
nowhere. You don't plan these memory attacks that come to you.
No.
right. They're not triggered. That's it. I'm just sitting here using time, some writing, some Netflix, my dog, but you're right. They don't seem to be triggered by anything I can identify. They just, wow, how did I remember that? Was I 3 years old or 4? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
From various portions of your life. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
well,
No plan. It comes without plan.
Unscripted, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ad-libbing.
Yeah.
Ad-libbing your life.
Yeah. There's free
Past life.
verse in there. There's free verse and there's free fall dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it is a blessing to have lived long enough to have compartments and sections in your life,
I just
like,
remembered Tarzan on the radio.
there you go.
Wow.
Oh,
You're awfully young for 90 years old, Bill. You look pretty good for 90. Tarzan on the radio.
I remember watching Tarzan. It was every Saturday morning. It was Buster Keaton and then Tarzan in England. We'd always be watching.
oh.
And
Was that the TV's
Tarzan-
version with Ron
Yeah.
Eli?
Yeah, the
They
guy
wrote
that was a
Jane
good
out of that
swimmer.
version.
Oh, right. Okay.
Buster
he
Crab.
was the swimmer. He was the Olympic
Johnny-
swimmer or
Johnny
something, wasn't
Johnny
he?
Weissmuller.
Crab.
Yeah.
Johnny Weissmuller, yeah.
Well,
Oh, he
Yeah,
was so good.
no, Buster
He
Crab.
was the best.
Buster Crab lived in Paris for a while.
Did he?
Ah.
You remember
No.
Ted? Oh, you remember Ted?
Yeah, but before I forget it, Johnny Weissmuller was one of the first PC cancel culture guys. Okay.
Was he?
Yeah, because what happened was, he played Tarzan. And, in the later 60s, Black Americans and a large
Oh,
number
yeah.
of white Americans said, these stereotypes, how does a white man who falls into the jungle, able to speak to the animals when the native people there for thousands of years can't do the same? So they were like, what the fuck is this? And you get it, and all the Africans were like childish and superstitious, and Tarzan could talk to animals.
Right.
So, okay, we know that scenario. And so what happened, I was up at Yale, right? And Weissmuller got invited somehow to speak. Now, he had won some medal in the Olympics, but back then
Right.
training was such that by the later decades, teenagers could outswim him. You
He
see?
was a swimming champion, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the development of bodily training for swimming
Right,
advanced so much that
Yeah.
Weissmuller was like mediocre at best his time as a medal winner compared to that day's youthful swimmers. Anyway, he went to come on, and I don't remember. I think I was stoned and walking around like, okay, let's go see Tarzan. And, and man, as soon as he walked out onto that stage, uh, the Black Student Union and people more militant all had African names. People from named Washington and Jefferson all of a sudden changed their name to a Juma and Imota, and had them good Muslim names. And you say, hey, Dwayne, what's going up? My name is Baraka. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Donnie.
Obama.
Okay. Right. I got
Yeah.
it. Emoja. Okay, Dwayne, it's Emoja. Oh, it's
It's
Emoja.
like when Henry
And they
Owens
booed him.
became
They
Akbar
booed him off.
Sharif.
And they booed him off stage, and
Oh,
he was not prepared for it. So
yeah.
he was not prepared for it. They booed him on stage for those reasons. He was the fall guy for the racist film scenario. Johnny Weissmuller.
And
But I
and
love that Tarzan. We loved it in our house. We watched it all the time. It was great.
He was like brute innocence. Me Tarzan, you Jane. Oh, I wish I could do that.
They never had sex.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah. That's
Cheetah.
Cheetah was the comedian in the whole thing, man.
A boy,
you gotta have comic relief.
Movies.
boy was brought by the stork, huh?
Yeah,
I
and
want to
then
watch
they had
the
Boy.
cheetah. Always the cheetah.
Yeah, and then they had Boy. Yeah. And-
Boy. That was
Yeah, what a
right.
name,
His name was
Tarzan.
Boy.
I don't think anything in the world would get done without the stork,
How did Boy come to be? Didn't they have sex?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
Right.
they weren't very clear. Was that their child?
Mm.
Did they do it?
I just knew that as a youngin', so very young, that you just assumed that Boy showed up and all was good.
The stork, right? Someone mentioned the stork here.
I mean, didn't he show up as like a physically fit, muscle-bound 8-year-old or 10-year-old?
Yeah.
Something like
I think
that,
that
yeah.
I think they wanted that the kids they wanted to make it really PG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean they couldn't have had it if Boy was 8, and that was the sort of main feeling of the film. Then they definitely wouldn't have gone back to, if they wouldn't have had sex. They definitely wouldn't have gone back and done the giving birth and breastfeeding. Would they?
And of course,
You don't
we
got
all went.
time for all that in a short
Jane
little
just wore
movie.
long, heavy dresses everywhere, didn't she?
And of course, we all in my neighborhood, we lived along the tracks, the railroad tracks, the
Yeah.
row houses, and then the railroad track. So we went to the railroad tracks and then strung up ropes to tree branches and tried to do the Tarzan swing.
Swing.
And somebody would fall and open their head up on the rocks along the railroad track.
Yeah.
And we'd get halfway out there and rip,
My phone is off.
scratch the
Keep
skin.
losing everybody.
Well, we had that in England. There was something called adventure playgrounds, where there were basically big old timber sort of telegraph poles that are put into the ground, and ropes were tied on them with a big knot, and you'd swing, and it was always, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, and I'll do that.
Cry.
And all that.
Right. And see,
A lot of
today,
beating of chests. The
and
girls
see,
and the boys, and if
today,
we pretended to be Jane, we certainly didn't have long dresses on. We just hitch our skirts up into the side of our knickers.
Yeah,
jump on
Jane
that
had a
rope,
mini,
go and
man.
do shit.
Jane had a mini, and one thing came up on YouTube, a YouTube spoof, a thing go, see Jane's bare ass, a scene that got through a Tarzan shoot, and it's like for a microsecond, she, oh darling Tarzan, whoop.
That was Maureen O'Sullivan.
Was it? Okay.
She wore a loincloth.
She didn't wear any underwear.
She wore a loincloth.
Eventually, but she was all long dresses
Was
for
it Maureen O'Sullivan or
longest
Maureen
time,
O'Hara?
wasn't she?
No, Maureen O'Sullivan. Maureen O'Sullivan.
Oh,
Who was the mother of Mia Farrow, yes?
No, yeah.
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 Wow.
She wore a loincloth. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what the spoof was on this YouTube. Somebody said, see, the scene that got past the censors, Jane's bare ass, which was, I mean, they show more than that now in fashion commercials, right? All it was her left cheek as she rolled over to give Tarzan a hug, but that was it. But of course, I looked it up to watch.
But it got a lot of 14-year-old boys excited back in the day.
And grown men. Oh, I want to see Jane's
grown
butt.
men also.
I'm old enough to look.
I was just watching it really for the rope technique, so that when we were swinging, that we knew what to do.
Yeah,
and we're less likely to fall. Nothing over.
We would get out there above the railroad tracks and then not know what to do. See, because the movie would show Tarzan going through like an acrobat. We'd get halfway out there and basically as kids have that feeling like, oh shit.
No, literally, as it's going, that you're on that platform there with the rope or wherever you're standing. As soon as it gets to that point, you jump off and carry on the momentum.
The problem was
about here.
The way we did it, we had a muddy rise above the railroad tracks, so that would give us the space to launch. So we'd get about 3 or 4 steps and jump off, but you couldn't drop unless you accidentally fell, because you'd fall into the tracks, where of course iron, and then with rocks, so that wasn't the right place to let go.
Dangerous place to play.
So we would wiggle back, disorganized, bang our heads into stuff. Well, that was kind of fun.
Of course, in addition to Tarzan, Edgar Rice Burroughs also was one of the great early science fiction writers.
Okay.
With his John Carter of Mars series.
Yep.
Okay.
And, which had spaceships, but also guys fighting with swords, because they were that kind of people.
That's it. Watch your science fiction for a prediction of what we talked about earlier.
And Edgar Rice Burroughs' ranch is now the city of Tarzana, California, down around Los Angeles.
Well,
there's a city called Tarzana.
And that hasn't been burnt to the ground by the PC crowd,
I think it's still standing. Last I heard, I mean, it's LA. You can get.
Didn't he write Flash Gordon too?
What's that?
Didn't he write Flash Gordon too?
No, Flash Gordon was a comic strip originally. I'm trying to think of what the guy's name was.
Oh yeah,
Hal something. But that was a long running comic strip, and then it went to radio and
And
serial,
Like-
movie serial.
Yeah, like Superman.
Superman was a comic book.
It was on
initially.
TV. It was on TV for a long time with the Claymen and
Yeah. I think those were originally like in theaters, right? They were serials.
yeah,
Yes,
And
they
then
were.
they migrated to television,
yeah,
Right.
like Hopalong Cassidy too.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
I've
Okay.
got a thing saying my internet connection is unstable. We've just had floods here in Tewkesbury. It's kind of well known for floods. I've got 2 broadband connections. One is still underwater and is going to be fixed until the 29th at least. So I'm a bit worried about the other. So if it cuts out, I'll try and get back in on my phone. Or
We hope we don't lose you there, Tish.
Well, maybe in the second round, you should be our first reader, since you're under threat of signal interruption.
Yeah.
Can
Is
that
that
work for
okay,
you?
everyone?
Tish,
Yes.
for a more stable connection, and maybe you could use your phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yeah,
True.
that's an idea. Let's see. I'm a bit worried about. Hold on. If I do that, it might come off.
But
If
will
I
use
do
a
it, it
lot of
might
your-
come off. Hold on a sec. Let me just get into the hotspot. Personal hotspot. Let's see if it's there. No, it's not showing. It's not showing here. Yeah, I've got it on, but it's not showing.
Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't we start the second round and invite you to read first, Tish?
Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry. Let me just get back to. So we're going to do two poems then.
Get off the jungle swings and back to poetry. Huh?
Yeah, no more Tarzan, please.
Put Cheetah back in.
No more monkey business.
Yeah,
Get back to poetry.
right. We're such
Okay.
a serious, formal crowd. That's Angora's,
Okay, so I'm going to do 2. One's about love, and the other is about sex. So the first one is called This Thing.
Well, they go good together.
He had this thing, special, like the last spoon scrape in a bowl of maple and pecan ice cream. I savoured it. He wore this thing in eyes that darted low, then up and right and smiled through screens. I watched it. He gave this thing. Every time his hands clasped as if in worry prayer, sweet, unassuming, like seeking 2 above to steady. I held them. The thing fell into cheeks and hair and sought out passage to upper lip. In hair it stretched across and curled in air, then hung in a beard I touched through glass. One day thing saw me, crawled slowly through the beard and eyes and hands and hair and tapped my shoulder. Thing was here, helloing its way into my hair. I was kindly. Thing chose to offer back and forth and transatlantic out-of-body play. Thing matured, packed its bags and left. We let it go. Thank you. And this next one is called The Place.
Okay.
Coves. I am able to bring you to the place. Palace of passion and barbarians. In the throes of cutting swords, I am limbless at your tongue. Suck heat from my neck as you trace firm circles down to the blades of my wings. Angels will borrow time to chorus the want. The salt on salt, the wet and honey sweet. Ruby red plums are juiced upon legs to the chaste chalice. There you will gladly offer death in your exaltations to receive. I collect you in my mouth and breathe life into the body of you. The hollows in your take me mind, labia labyrinths, phallus caves, bring seas of ecstasy to swim within. Ebb and flow from cock to mouth, cunt cove clit, wet race tongue to face, then deep. Oh, I'm sorry, I've just lost it. Oh Lord, one sec. Then deep into your tunnel mouth, hold you there between legs. Each entrance to your wonderment, release you, hand and tasting tongue. Thank you.
Wow, wow, liking that. All right. Give it a capital P for passion. Okay. That's
I got
cool.
over,
And
got overwrought thinking that, and then I lost my place.
we went from boy to thing. That's great.
Thank
Boy, did
you.
we grow up over that last conversation. That's great. That was a hot piece of poetry, Tish. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. All right. Okay. So I don't know. Does Bill want to go next?
Yeah, okay. Okay, I got two short ones. Okay, very short ones. Sitting in a dust-dry doorway, waiting for you to come, I ignored the grained wood at my back and saw the brown city wind.
That was nice.
Mm.
That was a portrait, man.
Yeah. The other one. Wait, 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 wait. The powdery calm will fall. A splash of yellow across the sky will turn aside their rage. The guiding lines that crush our bones sing with deluding pride to force our keening a word. Whisper soft, believe quite clear the tears that well, believe that truth, and all will end in time. Wait, 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 wait.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, Billy. All right. So let's go on now. I think Patricia. Do you want to go next, Patricia?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to read from my Brownstone and Poets Anthology.
Nice.
Diamonds and Rust.
These are your poems, yes?
No, it's the group I belong to. This is a poem that was originally published in the Cafe Review 2
And
years ago.
are you the author? What I'm asking is, who is the
Yeah,
author?
I am the author of the poem.
All right, thank you.
I happen to be. This is my anthology I put out from my Brownstone group yearly. Okay, Diamonds and Rust, inspired by Joan Baez. I'm not nostalgic, but tonight too many ghosts walked in. The moon was full, dust slept on broken boxes, heard whispers in my head, brought the boxes down. Teenage expectations unwrapped, eyes on peacock feathers, dry as dust. The Madonna and saints never saw the storm coming. No prayer could have prevented what I had to face. Teenage expectations rewrapped, returned, diamond dreams left to rust.
And you're invited to read another one. We like to do two in the second round.
Yeah, these are two haiku from Haiku Calendar that Monk puts out, mostly at Long Island Poets. And I'm in this issue. I have two little haiku.
Please.
Okay, thank you. Distant sirens, rain beats harder than ever. Distant sirens, rain beats harder than ever. And last, stealing a moment to smell the hyacinths, I lower my mask. Stealing a moment to smell the hyacinths, I lower my masks. Thank you.
All right, good. The obvious question, is that mask a reference to the current
Yes, it
pandemic
was
thing?
written during
Okay.
the pandemic,
All
yes.
right, okay, cool.
And also the other one was written during pandemic because I kept hearing sirens
All right.
when it first came out.
Okay, thank you. Does someone wish to go third? Does someone wish it? Or should I? Doc's got his hand up. Okay, Doc, please.
You're muted, Doc.
Doc, you're still muted. Okay, so there you
There we
are.
go.
Okay.
There I am. The woman I left behind. Let me feel your arms about me, holding me close, that I might reach inside you, slowly, easily, deliberately, into your heart, mind, and soul, to reach those places yet untouched, to live within the part of you filled with wonder, filled with stars. Let me use your heart as mine to carry me aloft to those stars in you, to the end of me and a new beginning with you, the woman I left behind, the lover I never knew.
And
Thank you.
Can you give us the second one?
Oh, I may be able to. Hold on. No, that's not what I want. Okay, let me do this. Quotidian journey. Sky glows with crystal fire of stars, which gleam from caverns of time, as dark shades from black to mazarin in the hour before dawn's first glimmer. Then sun begins quotidian journey, cross ancient baldaquin of blue, bearing a palette of red, gold, and peach, midst striated skies and Adriatic rays. Light dances in sensuous zephyrs between limitless pillars of day, drawing warmth seductively across the cool edge of night. It rises to the crescendo of noon in capitoline cerulean vault, then in denouement descends, drawn gently into the gloaming.
Okay, all right. I was imagining that done with a camera. That was nice. The images were so good. You outdid the film shoot on that. Oh, really, we do that. We do poems that are portraits and paintings and film shots and so forth. That's the power of our language, and that was exemplified in that poem, Doc.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, who would like to be next? Okay, Dane, please.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh. All I have to give is this art of me. The words, raindrops, land upon your plowed fields, glisten, opalescent, sweet, thick batter for cake, for bandage, for bridge, for way to go on. The heartbreak, heartbeat leads, the stroke and thrust of seagulls playing just overseas. The falling stone, heavy, slowly over snow, rolling, sliding down to bottom to plush, nestle, gentle touch the ocean's floor and rest. The pulse, the gallop of wild horses' hooves gliding over Galilee, sinking, plunging deep, swiftly stirring up the body's heat. The mouse peeks in and out of its little house, in and out, darting in and out, feathers on your nipples, till the battle general gives the command for waves and waves of hard battalions of warrior men, stiff in the resolution to capture the heart of your hidden city, to own it, proudly pawing the ground, the bull chasing and mounting heifers in the herd, flaming archers' arrows fly, sticking deeply into your city's wooden gate, singeing the ornamental guardian lips nearby. The warriors ram the burning embers of the gate repeatedly again and not stopping. The boiling oil flowing down the rampart, they melt as if they love their dying thrust. Into the brittle, falling now charcoal gate, they come and come in throngs, rushing into unrelenting, completely filling full. The finished volcano blows the lava skyward, fireworks delight the twinkle in the sky.
Wow. Wow. There's a sequel to the Battle for Helen of Troy.
Yeah.
And have you a second one?
Yes. I wish I did not have to go. Wish I did not have to know. You saved my life one more time, this time from beyond the grave. She made up her eyes for me. She's going out in my fetish, the sleek one with big fins like sharks were black coal smoke, polyethylene glycol with lemon flavored twist, shivers, shake and stirred, whispered, hot, fuck me, shouted, spasm loud, fuck me, flooding rainstorm open wide, the tears fall icicle down, caves, haunting echoes, what is lost life worth? The other side of nonsense is full-on lust, the hottest kind of making babies after disasters, the worst, sneaking out of bomb shelters in the glorious light of dark midnight, the pulse of your tits on her welcoming liar breast, his throbbing cock bobbing on your aching hard knob, dark eyes in the corner, exhale cigarette nostril smoke, feel the bull's horn, crush the matador's organs. This is holy religion, coming to know God, a body of secret knowledge, uninitiated contempt, vulgar landscape where everyone I picture is now dead, the improper memory, unworthy, degrading to a solitary silent fart, the deep sea, ocean, sand, rumble, society, rubble, one of the ones being to its depths, grief, newfound love, travel far below to see what is deep inside the COVID garden polyp, penetrating solitude, empty grave side, headstone, aching for name, aching for a sated date, externally superficial, obvious, my colon on display, HD 40-inch dual monitors, Holland tunnel sized, holiday empty of traffic through fentanyl blink. It's cathedral empty Monday morning waiting to be filled with dicks pulsing cum, chocolate cheese, quarter-pound whole kosher dill, penetrating, entering deeply this contempt, irreverence, deep, the inclusive significance, marked, noted, saying, the devil's music free, love the sunshine, love the sunburn, the cold night, the camera bend, the lubed up rectum entry, yellow brick road, the caress of fingertips on lady dicks into your veins, the medication will be given, the image of lining transmitted back to the heart antenna, translated from shit compost to silky dream snuggle, heartbeats pounding in a sterile room with strangers. They are wearing masks. They do not look into my eyes. No, they do not smile. Two men, two women. I am helpless. I am drugged at their mercy. It is cold outside. It is cold in here. Normally, I would be sweating. A man across the room talks to me of danger. Everyone asks my name again and over again. They tell me theirs. I do not remember. I do remember I am drugged. They seem all business, wanting to get on with it, wanting to get on it, to get it on. These people, Bill, Bob, Betty, and Beth, If those were really their names, can they be trusted? To tough me ever gentle, the self-touching self, the button, the cozy, cold English rain, winter nipples hard. We all fall down together, wetness slips, fingers and hands, dick and pussy licks. This is supposed to be a routine visit. The jungle steams me hard on the slide. I've got to ride the drugs. I am high. The hands fly. The hands all over me from toes to my lips. The strange men and women, hands and fingers spread wide open and deep dream sex. This is a story, fuck. The censor says, just an excuse to talk dirty, but my cock protests the hypnosis of the stroke. I want this. I want it now. It is hardcore fantasy to be free of judgment, to yield and be pliable to all the senses, the hot invasion, the heat's appreciation from shudder of flesh, from flesh to electric fingertips, eyes looking long, deep, whispering, latex gloved touch, terminal ileum visitation long, flexible, tubular, slowly withdrawn, carefully examined, high fever symptoms, the condition worsens, severe, vulgar, coarse, dehydration, vomiting, and improper, unworthy abuse of great and deep meaning. Thank you.
Wow. Who says drugs fry your brain? Wow. Who's
No one
put
can
that up?
explain it like you can, Dane.
Yeah, really. Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. Just wow. I'll leave it at that. Wow. Okay. Thank you. So, shall we go with someone next?
I'll go next.
Okay, Mr. David Wilson, staying in
Thank
the
you.
Bay Area, San Francisco.
Indeed. Okay. Untitled, loudly. They stood about the house, talking of things that did not matter. Then the beer was brought in, and they drank until they could not talk at all. So I would like to close out 2020 with a cover poem. In my view, one of the greatest poems ever written, by William Butler Yeats, The Second Coming. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed. And everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it, real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. How old is that poem now? 105 years old or something?
Something like that. When was that
Wow.
written?
That's
Let's see if I can look it up.
early part of the 20th century.
Yeah, it's probably about 100 years, maybe more. 1920, exactly.
Oh, wow.
First written by Yeats in 1919, first printed in the Dial in November 1920,
Okay.
and was included in his collection of 1921.
Okay. Well, thanks for the homage to William Butler Yeats. Very nice. Okay,
Indeed.
David, thank you. And so that was your second one.
Yep,
Yes, it
I'm
was.
done.
Okay.
May I interject
Well,
You
of
may.
course. Yeah.
that this coming year I'm going to publish a chapbook of my Brooklyn poems called
Excellent.
Slouching Towards Bushwick.
We're going to be watching for that.
Okay. That'll be good. That'll be good. So, okay. So, well, why don't you read next, Jack? I think you just,
Well, I think Claire put up her hand earlier,
well, all right. I mean,
but otherwise I'm ready.
well, one of you two decide, because either one of you are welcome.
Okay.
Jack, you can go.
You what? I should go? All right, I'll go then. Yeah, I have actually three little pieces. Two have a similar title, so they're very short. The first one is called, this is with, suggested to me by the theme of dreaming that we had before. It's called Sub Rosa, which means under the rose. You know. The day residue of pain becomes a window at night. Pigs fly where they were not meant, and the rest retreats, unrecalled, to remain hidden.
Okay.
So, and then this is called Heaven Above. Heaven above, angels below, a terrible beauty, deadly cold, as earth's should be. We, the world, enfolded in crystalline chrysalis, mortal shroud.
Okay.
And this finally, which is actually a haiku, and it's called Heaven. The lightness of wings, golden hair to my shoulders, what beauty is ours.
Okay. And as we customarily do, we ask a haiku reader to read it a second time.
Okay. It's called Heaven. The
I've heard of it.
lightness. Hold on.
Sorry.
Wait, let me just make an adjustment here. Okay. The lightness of wings, golden hair to my shoulders, what beauty is ours.
Well, that's very, very, very,
Thank you, everyone.
very nice. We've gotten out of our gloom and doom of the early part of the first round. I can see we have room for both. So good. And we certainly have room for Claire now. Hello, Claire.
You're
I
muted.
have. How are you? You good? Okay. I have a question. I have a very short poem, so I was thinking maybe I can read 3. Is that possible?
Yes, it is.
Oh, great. So the first one is called Blackness. This man is lost. He roams about, muttering words one cannot understand. He looks beyond the walls, looking for an answer. He has lost his nation, a land he will always strive to reach again, or he will be lost forever. The man goes, rab, 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 dwa, dwa, and I cannot understand. He moaned in silence. The silence of these walls is almost guilty for not being able to comfort him and cherish the softness of his soul. Like a baby, he roams about and babbles. I try to guess what he's saying, but I can't. All I see is a man lost in darkness. The narrowness of these walls encloses his brain in a prison. He tries to escape in vain. The man is lost in darkness, powerless.
Okay. Yep. Yep. That characterizes a
One.
few lost people I have observed very well.
Yeah, and I have a second one called This Woman. So these 2 poems depict people I crossed in the street, and I just wrote something about them. This woman. This woman cries humbly with a smile. She lost her children, but nobody knows the tragedy. That's why she's so graceful in her pain. That's why her tears look like stars on the dark sky. They roll in silence like diamonds. Her black skin is like the sky, deep and eternal, sincere, like a child's words. This woman washes away the sins of all mankind, and she looks like Mary, crying her child.
Okay. Are you doing poetry characters from people you're observing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you would like to do another one, I think.
Yeah, the third one is very short, and it's called A Quest to the Self. This brown eye shines perfectly in the water, like the one of a fish, except it's not empty. It is so full of life, one wonders where it was born and who it should be. The person behind this look of desire, strong, merciless. It hears the gong resonate, one that is full of love and determination, a quest to the self.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to pull a magazine
Thank
for
you.
myself. Thank you, Claire. And I'm going to pull a magazine for myself to read from. Pause. There we go. Because we're talking about going out with a poem at the end of the year, I thought how satisfied I was from having a poem that was censored. In, talking about PC, censored in a standout open mic reading and got published here in Love Love, which besides my poem has a lot of good work in it and interviews. It's sort of a, well, it is. It's a journal that's essentially um, uh, connected between artists between New York and Paris. Okay, current living artists and legendary artists from the past who are old now or who have died. So this young woman, Lisa Marie Jalborn, a Swedish woman living in Paris, has done that, paying tribute to living artists as well as artists we have known and loved who are now aged or have passed on. So I like that it's a mix of that and not just one of it. That's nice to see. So I'm going to look me up here in this where I'm here somewhere. Well, mm-mm. Oh, well, here I am. I found myself. Okay, so yeah, I get a little bit of pleasure by reading a poem that was dissed because of the PC thing, because we don't want a heterosexual at that point in time. This may have changed now, it may have changed the attitude, but about 2 years ago, it was we don't want males writing about lust and erotica is not wanted, whereas females and gays are more than welcome. So naturally, I had to write a poem exactly addressing that. That would be my nature. Thank you, Gregory Corso. Okay, so this is called I Want to Kiss You. I want to reach your hidden place. I want to kiss you where it hurts. I want to give you what seasons bring. I want to teach you the sacred sins. I want to seek you in the late, late night. I want to spoon you through your dreams. I want to shape me to fit you tight. I want to serve you, if that's all right. I want to watch you all alone. I want to see your naked light. I want to find you outside in. I want to teach you the sacred sins. I want to lick you everywhere. I want to taste you, your neck and crease. I want to eat you on bended knees. I want to serve you, if you please.
That was objected to, Mo.
Yeah.
That is the most innocent poem I've ever heard in my life. They
Yeah, that's
objected to it.
innocent.
Well,
So innocent.
That's innocent.
at that time, the current was that basically the current at that time was I wasn't wanted back there. So, but I can only assume things may have changed. And the social current was that men should basically, the men were reading poems about being the weaker sex, the wrongful doer. And that was,
Oh Lord.
you've heard, that current has run through the culture.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
just,
not unique to that particular
just,
group. What was,
it emasculates men being told you're not being able to do this, do that,
yeah,
and not be able to write poetry, and which is erotic.
right. They
The
were
whole
saying
thing about us being poets is that we don't limit ourselves, and we should not be limiting others or our
yeah.
sexualities. Yeah,
Well, the good thing was the
really.
audience. The good thing about that is I read it. The women in the audience were crooning and making like, whoa, ooh, ah. And the thought police were caught in a bind because they did not want to diss me publicly with sister women approving of the poem. So it was at a
So they
time when,
dissed you privately.
yeah, they
Well,
met
I'm
me
a
afterwards.
feminist. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
a feminist, and there's no way that I would. I mean, the whole thing about this sisterhood, it's the brotherhood, sisterhood. Hi, that's my grandson. And it's you uplift your gender, your own, and the male and female. You uplift
yeah,
one another.
right.
It's about
Yeah.
equality
Absolutely.
and
And
uplifting one another together.
Yeah.
not
And,
down
and, a,
treading. No,
and a
on
week
anyone.
before, I had told a woman poet that the tattoos on her body that was scantily covered were very sexy. And they declared that that remark was sexual predator. So,
Oh,
and so I came back to answer, am I a sexual predator? Well, here's my answer. And I read that poem, which,
Cover up your
yeah.
tattoos, girly, if you don't if you don't want them looked at.
so, I played into the drama by coming back and instead of like whatever, changing my topic or apologizing as they wanted me to do, I said, here, I have an answer to this, and it's called, and I'm going to read it now. I want to kiss you
Mm.
in a secret place, which was
Yeah,
basically giving my ability to give a good poem and one of these to the thought police. So,
yeah, yeah.
so it was a two-way street, admittedly. Okay, and so we talked about William Butler Yeats. So I will finish with this poem he calls a drinking song. He goes, uh, wine comes in at the mouth, and love comes in through the eye, and that's all we shall know for truth until we grow old and die. I lift this glass to my mouth, I look at you, and I sigh. Our drinking poem. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Here's to better years.
Here's to better years. So I just turned off the recording. So we got everybody for 2 rounds. So I can keep the chat off the recording to tell you if you're interested, and I hope you are. Take a look at yourselves over the last 3 weeks, and do as Bill has done and Dave has done. Put it on your own newsfeed screen, and like Dave does it, announces which reading he's at, and Bill does it by saying, "I read it like 1 minute 51 or something," so that Bill's fans can go directly to where he's at, and others can.
Oh, it's such a great thing to be able to talk up the Angora poets,
I'm glad you do, and
far and
I
wide across the social web.
and
Bo, it's still recording.
well, it's
It's a
such.
little bonus.